Welcome to the Liga Virtual F1 League. I am your host, Andrew Gatton, and I'm here today with Charles Gidday, the second commentator, and he's also running the cams today. How are you doing, Charles?
I'm very good, thank you. And you?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see this race around Monza. Typically known as the Temple of Speed to all those Ferrari fans out there, this is also the home of the Tifosi. We're going to see 27 laps around Monza today. This is the 8th round of the championship. Last week we were at Spa, which again, for every F1 fan out there, is just a piece of history written there. Monza is 3.6 miles of pure racing, and we're going to see them tackle this today over a very, very eventful race.
Yeah.
So, I do believe they're moving on to quali now, so we will catch up with some of the drivers. Let's see what they're doing on the track. Okay, and here we are. We're seeing all the drivers now loading up into the quali session for today's session.
No, it seems to be a practice session.
It's because their quali sessions somehow don't work, so they've had to do all their quali in practice sessions. Because it does the same thing as long as there's no quali before the race, it'll be the same.
And we have our first driver out on the track.
He's one of the Alpha Tauris. I'm not too aware of the name. It's Ivan. Ivan, I do believe he finished about 6th last year. Last week at Spa. So he's a pretty fast guy in that Alpha Tauri. He's actually switched to soft tires. He's realised he went out in the hards. As we see, I do believe that is Danny in front of us. Moving out, ready to race. We had a very, very strong race last week from all drivers, putting in pretty respectable times around a reasonably rainy Spa. I mean, it's not Spa without a bit of rain.
Or snow.
Day, so, or snow, yes. Going back to, was it a few years ago where they had snow during the GT1 class that they did around a bit there, which was kind of funny. The only race I've seen actually go ahead while it's snowing, so... Yeah, it means something.
Wouldn't be Spa without some unpredictability.
Yeah, so we actually see one of the Ferraris out there in front of him as well, and that is the Charles Leclerc car. So I believe that is Jurassic. He's actually out on the track with Cabba Speed and the Alfa Romeo Sauber. Oh, a little bit wide on Lesmo 2 there. He managed to keep it from dying, which is that's very respectable. He's coming up to the Ascari chicane now. Everybody loves Ascari. You've got to be very careful not to hit those yellow bumps on the curb because it will just completely unsettle the aero on the car. And coming up at the back straight now. This is always a fantastic spot to watch the cars coming up. There's always some excellent racing here.
Cabeza Speed coming up to start a flying lap now.
Watching as he's coming down the start finish straight. He's going to come in to the first chicane. A little bit of a tiny lockup, but he holds it in. Let's see as he's going to come round to the first start of the technical side of the track. We're going to see him go through Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2 in very short notice now as he's coming out of the second chicane. He goes into Lesmo 1 nice and tight around that there. You can take it slightly wider there and it's actually a little bit faster around that point in the track, but a little bit loose in the back end as he's coming out of Lesmo 2. Coming towards Ascari now. And, good driving from him. He maybe missed that apex a tiny bit, but he's managed to keep it on the track.
Cabeza Speed goes purple in the middle sector. Just over half a second up on Cavallo's time of a 1 minute 21.5. So let's see, can Cabeza Speed get a pole position here?
Seen him running round the Parabolica now. He's going to nail that time.
And Cabez's speed
120.
goes... Yep, 7/10 faster than Cavallo.
So that's our first 120 of today's session. Or maybe see him run for actually a second flying lap. He's actually, it seems to feel like he's going quicker. A little bit lost on the back end there, coming around the first areas of this track. The best thing about the Monza track is that you can't really miss it. A lot of drivers love Monza just for the sake of the pure racing and the driving that always gets done there. So I'm just going to pull up the race info I was sent. Yeah, there we go. Should be able to come back and watch. Here we go. Miguel is in Lance Stroll's racing point from last year, so we're going to see him.
And he's actually gone purple in the first sector.
Oh, so he is definitely on for a good time here. Obviously, we see the times should be reminiscent of about a 119. These cars, 118 actually being the official fastest lap time on this track. I do believe it was actually broken slightly last year by Lewis Hamilton, trying to push his way back up the field after having that disastrous pit lane incident where he went in when it was red lights. But he's actually pulled himself into second there.
He would have got pole, but he just dropped a couple of tenths in the middle sector. That was a very consistent lap otherwise, and that would have got pole for him.
It did seem that he actually missed his apex on the second Lesmo slightly, so that's probably what's cost him his time there. We're actually on board with Osprac now. Coming through Ascari. Jeff in the Williams. Coming into Rettifilo. And into Curva Grande. Jeff we saw last week in that Williams, he was doing pretty well. He took the hard tyre strategy and tried to run them till he near enough the end until he swapped onto some softs, and I think he managed to finish in 4th last week if I remember rightly, so he done a very good race then.
He was slow on the apex of his first Lesmo, but if he can just gain 1 or 2 tenths, that should put him up a position into 3rd. And see how he takes the Ascari.
A little bit wide on the first apex there. You can use that inside curve. It actually gives you a slight bit more turning. You want to aim to get the middle of your front tire, just aiming onto the side curb, just enough to help lift the aero and allow the car to almost slide into that corner. Obviously, he managed to post a respectable time there. He's sitting still in 4th position. I think what maybe cost it for him was that slow mishap at Ascari, where he just missed his apex. Beza now, we're watching him. He is the pole sitter at the moment. We've got 7 minutes left of practice.
Qualifying.
Oh, quali.
Yeah, qualifying practice qualifying.
It's all the same thing. They're all racing for position, right?
No.
That was very good turn in actually through Lesmo 2 there.
Could see an improvement here.
Actually coming up into Ascari now.
Just flinging the car through.
Very nice there. You can actually see the difference that it makes when you touch that front left tyre onto the first apex curb very well. It actually holds the car pretty good contention. He's actually down on his personal best on that first sector, so we'll see what he can do. It's going to be a respectable time either way.
And he doesn't improve.
And that's a pretty good time there from him. Actually, the only area that he improved there was the middle sector, and he ran it purple. So we'll see how he can actually improve again if he's going to go out for another fast lap. And we're on board now with Baroni David, who we saw last week. He wasn't in too much contention for much, but he's struggling a little bit through the first apex, first chicane, coming around Curva Grande now. Retafilo is a difficult one to get right because you just don't know how to hit it. Most cars it's actually different. From club racers to GT3 to GTE cars even. You take them slightly different going around Monza. You see Baroni David now. Nice on the brakes. He just goes actually onto the Astro and he's actually lost the car there. That's what happens, I'm afraid, if you just push the car a little too much into that corner. Scari's just pure famed for killing cars.
As he comes up to the line now. And he doesn't improve.
We would have been safe to believe that he wasn't going to improve. Unfortunately, anyway, after that mishap at Ascari, but we're now seeing Zamunski, who's actually doing a very good lap right now in that Haas. Very, very nice use of the curbs there.
Sadly, this won't count though, because it's his out lap. He's probably just getting used to the racing line. Winding the car up through Parabolica. And power down towards the line to start his flying lap.
In most sides of things, I love to have a fast out lap. It gives you confidence in the car. It also helps the tyres a little bit more when you put them into the grooves of the track. It helps you be able to pick up a little bit of extra rubber as well, depending on how long the track's been running for. So he manages to do very well through Retafilo into Curvande now. He's actually parking it really nicely on the racing line. Pushes it onto the grass a little bit there. I don't know if that was a mishap
and
from him.
spins.
Oh, and he actually loses it. Oh, that's unfortunate from him. I know how difficult it is in that part of the track to lose it, because Rogia is just famed as well. Like all the chicanes on this track, you have to be very careful. It did seem like Ivan there, moving into Ascari, actually was really leaning on that front right tyre. He is trying to quali on mediums, which is maybe a strategy from him.
Oh, as one of the cars goes very wide. In turn one.
He is going again though. Ivan is pushing pretty hard here. Going around Curva Grande now. See if he doesn't mess up into Rugia. He does very well. Nice use of the curbs there. Right into Lesmo 1.
Oh, and
he loses it a little
heavily.
too wide. He's lost his front wing. That's a shame there. He was on for a good time.
As Danny is 2/10 up, purple in first sector.
Danny being the race organizer. He's a very nice guy. We're definitely very happy to be working with him to bring this broadcast for you guys. So he did have a little bit of a snap there going into Ascari, but he's still purple on first sector, which is the fastest we've seen so far.
But he has dropped another couple of tenths in the middle sector with that wobble in Ascari.
Coming into final sector now, he has went around Parabolica and across the line at a 120.471, so he is sitting third at the moment. So that's a respectable time for him. We've got 1 minute 20 left on quali now, so I think that'll be the last time he gets a chance to go out. Miguel Angel now pushing himself into second, and that's now Danny in 5th position as Rodriguez also puts himself higher up on the timing.
Someone going very wide out the second Lesmo.
We're going to see, actually, if we could stay on board with Rodriguez when he starts his last lap. I have good faith in this guy to
As
put this car
Offsprat
quite
goes
high
into the
up, even on hard.
119s. That was a
Well,
good
we saw
lap.
we saw him last week really pushing the car around Spa. He was definitely really comfortable in that Ferrari. Nice positioning on the track there from Rodriguez as he sets himself up for the last time to go over the line. He's going to push the car now.
Lots of traffic in turn 1 that's going to hold him up.
Low now.
Went a bit deep.
He's now going round Curva Grande. Very nice line through there. He's actually using the perfect racing line to get round there. He's coming into Rogia now. He's going to lead into Lesmo 1. Very strong car. We know that Mercedes can do something. He's actually slow on the first sector there. Let's see if he can make it up on the second sector.
But very wide on the exit of Ascari there. Almost might say that that's track limits. Maybe race control might want to have a look at that. And again, very wide at Parabolica. And he's going to abandon the lap.
I would have there as well. If he had put that time in anyway, he would have been told no. And he's crashed it into the pit wall. He's killed at least 5 guys, smashing into their legs and their shins. So, I mean, fair enough.
And that is qualifying done. Let's have a look at the results.
Oh, so we actually see that Willie31 is in first position on 119.906. Offsprat in second and 119.912. So 0.006 between those drivers. Cabeza Speed sitting in third. We see him early pole sitting on a 120.045. And fourth, we see Miguel Angel 121 on a 120.130. So another very strong drive from him. We see Jeff from the Williams and a 120.261. He is 0.355 off the pace at that point. And we see in sixth in the Mercedes, we've got Rodriguez in a 120.429. In seventh, we see the race organizer Danny, number 1, in a 120.471. So again, very close between them there. 0.565 off the pace. In eighth, we see Acite on a 120.521. In ninth, we see Mugen in the Williams, a 120.531. And in 10th, we see Mikel Rosalind in a 120.569. In 11th, we see Moses Carvalho in a 120.656. In 12th, we see Gerazi in a Ferrari on a 120.846. In 13th, we see Ivan in the Alpha Tauri. It was a 121.570. In 14th, we see Zamun Kasi in a 122.064. And in 15th, we see Baroni David on a 122.327.
And now I believe this is a warm-up. So we will be right back after this ad. Welcome back to the warm-up.
We'll definitely work on getting some more B-roll to throw in there in the future. You see, we're seeing a few of the cars coming out just to on just what we would consider installation laps for the data in the cars. The team's all wanting to get the best out of their cars here. They'll all be running minimum wing setups, so they can get the maximum out of the car, maximum speed possible.
Oh, this is my bad. This is in fact Q2 because we have 15 drivers.
I did see that. Well, we actually had 15 drivers before, so we are now on what would be considered Q3. Am I assuming?
Yes. So we've gone from Q1 to Q3.
Yeah. Well, we'll just assume anyway that we're going to see the same drivers be trying to put in the same lap times here as they're all on their out laps. Monza's are famed here for the Ferrari presence. Obviously, Ferrari only being based like 40 miles away in Maranello. And in that case as well, it's probably one of the most famous manufacturers in the sport. As we see Osbrak going into the first chicane. He's going to go around Curva Grande now in that Ferrari. Those tyres should be switched on now. He was doing quite a lot of weaving and bobbing around the track. He's going to go into Regia. He's going to brake just before the 50. Very nice from him. He's going to hit Lesmo 1 now.
Bit wider than you'd want to be, but still okay.
Yeah, he's just slightly off what would be considered as the apex line there. Going through the Lesmos, you can really lose quite a lot of time through Lesmo 1 and 2 if you don't hit that apex, and he's actually pushed it wide going into Ascari. Going down the back straight now, we see the Fanatic signs above. Going to hit the last corner, which is Parabolica. Dropped it down into 5th. Pushes the speed back up into 6th and 7th. Now he's going to race it to the line, and he puts in a pretty respectable time of 1:19.506. So actually, a 1:20.44. Cite actually puts in a 1:19.506 in the Red Bull. So we might actually see Offsprick pushing another time here if he can. Obviously, the tyres will be completely switched on now. 2 laps is enough to really switch on any tyre. Especially in our Factor 2. And there we go, he nails Regia just about perfect. Nice use of the curb. He's going to try and tuck it in nicely. He does actually pretty well round there. Puts it a tiny bit wide. We're actually on board now with Cabiza Speeds. Also coming through Lesmo. A little bit shaky through there into Lesmo 1. And Lesmo 2 is a bit wide. You've got to be really careful. You have to hug Lesmo 2 quite tight, otherwise that little dip is enough to send you into the barrier. You see Cabiza coming into the Ascari chicane. He's putting a little bit too much scrub on the tyres there, coming into Ascari, but he does really well to hold it. Yeah, and you can see the difference it makes when you are a little bit unsure on Ascari. He's actually went yellow on that sector, so he's not actually even personal best that time there. But he actually goes purple on the last sector, and it's enough to put him into 3rd position on a 1:19.8.
Here we have the pole sitter of the city, starting his lap. He's got a 1:19.506 to beat. What can he do? Nice and tidy through the chicane at the start of the technical past the circuit. Through Lesmo 1, kept it tucked in, not using too much curb on the exit there, very nice. Now begins the run down to Ascari. You either lose time or you win time. What's it going to be? Sliding the car, getting rotation through on the exit, very nice. but he's actually 0.2 of a second down on his personal best in the second sector. It's all about Parabolica. What can he do? He's turned in, shortest run to the line. And he goes pole, improves a 119.3. Very nice lap.
Yes, it's definitely, he's a driver to be reckoned with on the pit wall. We seen him last week pulling out the stops. It's actually possibly good to get up there, but it's very difficult when you've got the other drivers pushing him. He actually pretty much led the race last week from start to finish, and just had no chance to give anybody a chance at the win. It was more fight for second, third, and fourth rather than first. He just left them all for dead. See Rodriguez, a little bit of a lockup going into the first corner, and we're going to see him come around the curve. Grande is actually really untidy coming out of that corner there. Yeah, that was probably the best bet for him, was to just restart the lap. Hopefully he can get maybe another 1 or 2 in. Eugen going third fastest now. 0.461 off of Acite. He's sitting around about a 119.9. Rodriguez just
very interesting line
again
on his outlap.
I do feel he's maybe not as used to this track as the other drivers, which is fair enough. Gonna hit the brakes just before the 50. No, he's just gonna go straight through Rogia. He doesn't care. Come round Lesmo 1. So this will be the this will be set for the win on the pole position battle, but we'll hopefully see him take the lines properly on his actual racing hot lap here. Nice and actually tidy through Ascari there. That's how we want to see the drivers take Ascari. And looking actually back at the field, a few of the drivers not managing to improve too much. Jeff in the Williams and Danny in the McLaren not managing to pull out any of the stops to push themselves up into the higher ranks. There we see Rodriguez pulling through. Red field is difficult, obviously, to get right. Curva Grande. Surprisingly, a lot of people take different lines through there. The best line is to go out almost the middle of the track. He comes through Regia into Lesmo Curva 1. Nice and tidy through there. And Lesmo 2. Also quite tidy through there. And he's purple first sector.
And purple second sector as well. This might be pole.
This is a very good lap from him. This has all been tied together perfectly. It's now just about that run down to the line, because there isn't too much in it. He could really lose it coming round into the Parabolica now, which it doesn't look like he will. He's holding it together nicely. Perfect line round there, and he is going to take the pole position there. 119.280. Not much in it, but he managed to do it when it mattered. So yeah, he's not gonna manage another lap there. But Acite is still out on an out lap. He's actually coming around. He's gonna nail this. You can tell this guy is an F1 veteran. He's got himself on the quali line perfectly.
Got some traffic though on the exit. McLaren doing wise to stay off the track.
Around Curva Grande, red field pretty strong. We'll see how strong his first sector is when we come into Regia now. He's actually slow. Not even PB there for him through sector 1. Parking the car nicely on Lesmo. Very strong. Up here on the run up to Ascari. Ascari chicane, again notorious for sending cars into the wall and spinning them out.
Purple in the middle sector.
From him. This actually could be enough to take pole. He's 0.1 ahead there at the second sector, so if he holds it together coming around Parabolica, this could be pole position here at Monza. He sends it into the wall.
I don't know what happened there.
So it looks like he just dropped it under power, but I'm going to assume that he just lost it. He would have had it there if he didn't crash the car. It was very unlucky from him. But good racing, good hot lapping to get everybody into the Q2 and Q3. And we're going to see the race start. So, talking about Monza, let's talk about the F1 calendar for this year. Are you happy to see Imola on the calendar for the 2021 season?
I'm undecided, I think is the best way to put it. I think Imola is one of, if not the most famous and integral parts of Formula One history. Obviously for the fact that it's Italian. It's such a great track. And obviously it is sadly the death place of Ayrton Senna, one of the most beloved drivers of all time.
It's one of those things, isn't it, when you see F1 return to a place with such a sacred history as that, you'd actually think that the only time they would have returned was for a commemorative race in Senna's honour. But I do feel at the same time that Imola is a good track. I mean, we saw some good racing around it. Daniel Kvyat was, last year very, very strong around Imola. But in some cases, I actually do believe if they wanted another track to put on it, they should have really looked at Mugello. Mugello had some fantastic racing, but I think it was just too physically demanding for the drivers. That it was just a little bit kind of unearthed in some cases. They didn't know what they wanted, which is fair enough. But we are seeing Portimao back, and I think everybody loved the Portimao Grand Prix last year, just because of the pure change at the start with Carlos Sainz putting himself at the first position within the first few laps of the race. So we'll hopefully see some good racing like this on here. So obviously Monza being won last year by Pierre Gasly, the AlphaTauri Red Bull Junior. And we're seeing these guys now actually coming out for a warm-up lap.
This is in fact the warm-up session. Finally. So we're going to go for a quick ad break because I've now got some ads. We'll be right back.
Perfect. Welcome back to the fantastic Monza as we see the drivers just finishing their warm-up session. They're getting ready to take on 27 laps of the famous Temple of Speed. So we'll just see where the drivers are now. So let's actually have a look at the event slide now and we'll see what we're doing. Watching a few of the drivers coming past the camera angle there as they're trying to set their cars up perfectly fine for the race. The great thing about R Factor 2, I feel, is the realism in the aspect of it's a step up from semi-arcade racers like the Formula 1 game in some aspects, where you don't have as much, you have more control over what you can and can't do in the actual racing stuff. So I think it's very good that way. Be interesting to find out when the session's going to start, so we can move to the next screen.
I believe this warm-up session should almost be finished. I believe there's 5 minutes left, and I think we're going to run it until the end.
Okay.
Just while let the drivers get a feel for their race fuel and race tyres. So the top...
I mean, that's fair enough.
The top 10, because we did a Q2, and we are running the F1 rules as they are in the real world, the top 10 will have to start on their qualifying tyre, which for most of them will be the soft tyres. And then everyone from P11, so that's off-sprack, through to Baroni Davide and P15 will have a free choice of tyre for the race start. So it's going to be interesting to see who picks what tyre and how that affects their strategies. We saw a few people in the first qualifying actually going out with mediums, which was a bold choice.
We actually saw Ivan in the Alpha Tower. He pushed himself out on some hards, and he managed to put some pretty competitive times in there.
Just showing his true pace.
Yeah, he's a fast guy. I mean, he wouldn't be in the championship if he wasn't fast, but I do feel he sometimes he puts himself under his own stress and pressure to try and gain positions, and then causes himself a few unneeded incidents when it comes to driving the car safely. So we'll see. Cars. Actually, that's Ivan coming out of the pits just as we were talking there.
He heard us talking about him and was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, he didn't want to be a part of the conversation today. So he's decided to leave the pits. So this is the Liga Virtual F1 season. This is a replica of the F1 2020 calendar, as we're literally just a week away from the start of the F1 2021 season in Bahrain. Are you excited?
I'm excited to see how the real life and the Liga Virtual F1 seasons play out.
It's going to be awesome to see how and where all the drivers finish when it comes to the end of the season.
As we are approaching halfway through the season. In terms of round numbers, we have just came back from our summer break in Spa last week. So now the drivers are properly geared up and set for the long, tiring slog to the end of the season to see who will be crowned champion.
It's going to be absolutely awesome to see where everything ends up at the end of the season, team-wise and driver-wise, as we see the Constructor Championship and also the Driver Championship really light themselves up here around the famous Temple of Speed. great to see. 1 minute 40. Okay, that's perfect. So actually, just looking at this championship, it is a free to enter championship on R Factor 2, running the Formula One 2020 mod pack with race department designed skins of the tracks. So you guys, if you ever wanted to join in, feel free to jump to the website, which is at Liga Virtual. So it is at ligavirtualf1.es/en/ to join in on the fun. You can see all of the perfect, cool, amazing skins and the awesome driving to be done on there. So we actually will see a few of the teams. Actually, I can read out to you guys the standings. In first position at the moment, we have Rodriguez on 102 points so far. Offsprack sitting in second on 79, and Pablo's sitting in third on 77. McNunper on 69, and Carlos Fino, last week's winner, sitting on 68. So unfortunately, Carlos couldn't join us this week, but it would have been interesting to see how well he would have done around Monza. Here we go.
Warm-up should be ending shortly.
Should be pretty much ended.
Timer has hit 0. I think we're just waiting. The game is just waiting for people to finish their laps as we go into effectively overtime. You see the checkered flag being waved in the background there.
It would be genuinely interesting to see how these drivers would fare up in an endurance league with this sort of pace, whether they could take part and do exactly the same sort of times they'd be wanting to do in relatives in the LMP1, LMP2 fields in R Factor 2 championships.
Might be something we talk to Danny about.
Maybe would be. We can maybe see if we could get him to enter a Liga Virtual F1 team endurance league. Be interesting to see. I would definitely love to take part, whether it was commentating or driving. I personally would like to do the driving part, but don't tell Danny that.
I don't know if this session is going to skip.
It
Everyone
should
is
skip,
in their
obviously.
Everyone's in their pit boxes.
Last week we saw it magically appeared out of nowhere, so we should just see the cars start to appear on the track.
And there we go.
Disappear there. A few of the cars still sitting there, but we see them starting to spawn in on the racetrack now in the right place.
Gotta hurry up, guys. Not long left. They only have a certain amount of time to get onto the grid, or they will start from the pit lane.
That is actually very true. I'm just going to see who all's lining up where.
Pole sitter is missing.
And second place.
They will want to get onto the grid as soon as they can.
They must be doing some last minute setup changes because you know Park Fermi isn't a thing in our Factor 2.
There we go. Just missing 4 cars, I believe. Cars going in and out. Very realistic. Missing 3 or more cars now.
Should be about 1 or 2 cars now to be on the grid, and then we should be ready to start.
And here we go.
And I do believe this is a formation one.
Yep,
Be
it
sure of
is
saying
indeed.
Yep.
And here we have the starting order.
Okay, looking down the starting order, we have Rodriguez sitting on pole in second. We have Willie 31 and the McLaren. Sitting in third, we've got Acite. Oh, it's ran away from me. Cabeza Speed in fifth. Osbrag sitting in sixth. Mugen in seventh. Miguel Angel in eighth. Danny sitting in ninth, the league organizer. In 10th, we have Jeff in the Williams. In 11th, we have Moses Carvalho. In 12th, we have Gerazi. In 13th, we have Ivan. In 14th, we have Zemunkazi. And in 15th, we have Baroni David. So, that rounds off our grid for today's Monza race. And you see the drivers vigorously trying to warm up their tyres in the background. Oof, and we see Willie nearly lose it going round the Lesmo there. Is he too much vigorous on that wheel? I've actually got a couple of Formula One commentaries that I'm to be doing this week. I'm going to Circuit of the Americas on Thursday night for the IRL League. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also going to be commentating tonight on some place that I haven't been told yet. So that's going to be fantastic. The joys of being a freelance commentator, am I right?
Indeed.
Looking down the grid as they're all looking to form up as they come round this parabolica now.
Backing the grid up. Almost doing a safety car restart kind of thing.
It's fair enough. I mean, he is got full control of the pack pretty much as he's coming up to line himself up on the grid. This is where we see what happened last week, where a driver nearly parked in the wrong grid spot. But this is what happens when you play R Factor 2. See, you saw the McLaren nearly miss up his grid spot there.
And the last car is in its grid spot, so we are moments away from the start of the race.
And it's lights out, and away we go. We are green at Monza, and Rodriguez gets away very well there. He actually covers the inside instantly. A very good move from him. And the McLaren of Willie going out the outside to try and take him into Rettifilo, coming around Curva Grande now. Very strong drive from him. You can tell that Rodriguez, for being the lead championship contender at this moment, he knows what he's doing in that car. 0.3 behind is Willie 31. Acite actually holding his position in third. Cabeza Speed not too far behind him. We're on board with Danny. He's actually went up a few places. He's actually gained 3 places at the start of the race. Mugen in the Williams and Moses Carvalho having a little bit of a battle there, as it's very safe to say that there's some good racing already going on here. We're actually seeing now Rodriguez is about 0.7 away from Acite now, who's just pushing away 0.6 from the pack, but actually looking down the field now, we're on board with one of the Williams. And it is Mugen in the 10th spot. He's doing pretty well. His teammate's down in 15th, so if it stays like this for the next 27 laps, unfortunately Mugen will be the only point scorer for Williams today. Osbrack and Gerazi, both Ferraris seeming to are going to be using each other to get up the field. Danny is pushing them back into each other. Jeff is about 22 seconds behind the leader at this moment in time. But Site is struggling to maintain pace with Rodriguez here around the track. We've seen both of those drivers fighting to get into the positions in qualifying. Willie 31 unfortunately losing out to Site on the first 2 laps there. Cabeza speeding 4th here. We're seeing him coming up the back straight. He's chasing down Willie 31, but unfortunately he's just not got enough space, enough of a lead on him to, or a good run to maintain the full speed that he needs to have. He is going to have a very good run down at the start-finish straight. You see him pull to the right. He has the inside line, so he is going to take him into Rettifilo here. Very good driving there, but actually good defense from Willie 31. That was very strong driving from both drivers. We've got a new fastest lap of Jeff on a 1:23.845.
There's now
Jeff
a Haas
really
gets in
pushing
on
it.
the action.
Oh yes, we see Michael Rosalind.
McLaren goes very
pushing.
wide.
That's gonna
Rejoins
be
a bit dangerously. And the McLaren's off.
Yeah, he's going right off again. He's going off again. He's all over the place here, as Willie 31 is really struggling to keep that track on, that car on the track. As Cabeza Speed is now promoted to 3rd position, and so Rosalind's up a place as well in 4th. Willie 31 still, he's now at danger from the 2 Ferraris, who are going to be hunting him down. Site now hunting for the lead. He's managed to find some time in the past lap there. Rodriguez still parking that car on the apex very well. He's telling Site to stay away. Site posting a fastest lap of a 1:23.649 now. You can tell he's definitely found some time. Danny's been put back down to 8th position. He's now going to overtake Gerazi in one of the Ferraris, but he's not. Gerazi really strong on the brakes there. Gerazi's gained quite a few places now since his quali stints. On board with Ivan, the only Alpha Tauri on the grid. Kind of stuck there as we see Danny's kind of blocking his path, which is fair enough. No physical blocking, it's more of a mental game than anything else. Danny actually gets very strong push out of Lesmo too there. It seems his car has just managed to have a ton of power. So Miguel Angel having to pull out of that move into Ascari. Some really strong racing around Monza so far. A lot better racing than we saw last week in Spa. This is a battle for points right now between 10th and 11th, between Mugen and Miguel Angel. New fastest lap for Willie 31 on the 1:23.405. You can definitely see the fuel is starting to be used up in these cars, the weight's getting higher. Danny's now up in 7th as he's taking Gerazi into Rettifilo, coming round Curva Grande. Gerazi trying to hold on to that slipstream. He's actually, if Danny doesn't defend on the inside, he's not even going to squeeze him here. It does seem he's just going to let him have him coming into Rogia. Very good fighting here for 7th and 8th between Gerazi and Danny. Miguel Angel about 0.3 off pace behind Mugen at this moment in time, just not managing to find that extra bit of time.
Oh, and we have a McLaren and an
Ivan
AlphaTauri
going
off.
So that's Ivan. It's spun off the track there, and so's Danny. Danny's lost it as well, and Danny was having a very strong battle for the upper positions. Danny is now having to maintain the fact that he's either been taken out or he's lost it. Be interesting to find out from him at the end of the race what actually happened there. On lap 6, on lap 5 out of 27 there. We're seeing Willie 31, he's all over the back of Capiza Speed now. Very good defense, comes to the inside, pushes it to the out. Willie 31 banging wheels there with Capiza Speed. Capiza Speed still holds his position. And Willie 31 just loses it again going round into Lesmo 1. And brings it off the track again into Lesmo 2. He's really pushing that car to its limits right now to try and catch up. Fortunately, my friend, that's not how to catch somebody. Miguel Angel is really pushing the Williams still. Both drivers managing to gain a place as Danny went off the track and spun out at Ascari last lap. We're seeing as again and Miguel still pushing. There's still a gap of about 0.4 between them on average, which isn't too bad considering Mugen has got a little bit of a toe right now. Capiza Speed 0.4 off the pace now on Willie. Willie's now taking over that place in the third spot of the grid. Rosalind sitting in 5th position right now. We're seeing Battle for Third lighting up a little bit here. Nice tight line through Lesmo 1 there in the Haas. Very strong through Lesmo 2. It does seem that Rosalind's got a little bit of a struggle when it comes to dirty air coming out of that corner. There's 2 cars in front of him. Willie 31 and Capiza Speed are just going at it. It's actually Willie 31 getting overtaken there. Nearly loses it into the dirt. That's very strong racing there. So we're seeing the drivers pushing. As we see now, Ivan in 8th position. And coming into Parabolica, we see a move done by Mugen to get into that position. And we see Miguel Angel, he's just getting a little bit caught up now behind Ivan. Oh, Ivan's pulling again to the inside. He's going to try and get that position back. And he will try and get it as much as he can. He does. He manages to hold. Coming in to Retafilo, Curva Grande now. Miguel Angel pushing to the outside, trying to get by. Just not enough room on the track to be fighting there. Some good racing going on in the back of the pack. Here we'll maybe jump to the front of the pack and we'll see the gap between Willie 31 and Capiza Speed. It's actually somebody spun off the track. I do believe Baroni David is now out of the race. So that's a shame from him. He's been out 2 laps now, so unfortunate from him, whether he had a crash or whatever. It's now P. Rodriguez pulling in a 122.714. Is the fastest lap of today's race. Willie 31 and Capiza Speed just having this fight on and on and on through the track here. Site is only 0.1 off the leader now. It's a little bit of a battle. Oh, sorry, not 0.1, but 1 second off the leader of Rodriguez. And Willie31 and Capisa Speed, because they've been constantly fighting, have dropped down the pack a little bit. They're about 7 seconds behind the leader now. Coming round into the run up towards Scotty. The two pass guys, unfortunately, running back to back as Rosalind spun out in the last lap there. Danny's now putting himself up into 10th position, getting past a few of the other drivers, but he's now got to get past those big walled Ferraris now. This is their home track, so they'll be trying their best to get up there. Osprack actually up in the mix now. He is now sitting in 5th position. See, car going almost sideways around Parabolica there. I do believe that was Mugen. It's having a bit of a fun one. Bit of a DRS train as Ivan is now past Miguel Angel, who must have had a fantastic move past both cars in that last lap there. Miguel Angel really putting his foot down here. He's saying to Mugen that you're not allowed past. I've been stuck behind you this whole time. This is my turn to fight Ivan off. So whether Miguel Angel can get past Ivan or not in the next few laps, we'll find out. But we're on board now with Osbrook, who is chasing down Willie31 now. He's got past Cabiza, who must have had a little bit of an off because he is struggling right now. He's definitely lost a lot of speed. Osbrook in the Ferrari there, really pushing to chase down the McLaren. Go around the Parabolica now. Absolutely invigorating racing going on. Definitely is something that we were expecting. Isn't that right, Charles?
It is, yep. Monza always brings great races.
Watching now. I'll let Charles speak for a little bit.
Oh! As a McLaren goes off!
We lost it!
Into the wall.
Willie31, after doing so well against Cabiza and Osbrook there, has just sent it in the wall. As now Miguel Angel is definitely going to be looking to take that place off of him.
He's going to be slow. He has most likely quite a lot of damage to that McLaren. So he's going to be slow and he's going to lose the downforce.
Yep.
Goes through the barriers.
Struggles around there anyway, but he has actually, yeah. He does look like he's lost a bit of downforce and potentially steering damage, as you're seeing. He's actually twitching the car left and right there. Try and keep it straight. And Ivan's going past now. Coming into Ascari. And Prix Mugen is also going to try for him. Oh, that was a dangerous move coming across the track from Willie31.
I'm sure Race Control will be keen to look at Willie31's defensive moves here.
Yep, I suppose going wide. Ivan went wide around Parabolica there. Tokyo drifting that Alpha Tauri. Interesting to see what actually happened there.
He has come into the pits.
It'll be interesting to see if he's going to repair or retire after that. Oh, he's gonna do a bit of a repair, which is fair enough.
I don't know what he's done there, because that is not a lot of time for a repair in RFX 2.
So it looks like he might have just put new mediums on the car. The jacks went up, so he definitely put something new on the car.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Can confirm he's on the medium tires.
Yeah, so he is. He's definitely changed the new tires now.
Just stick with him.
Rodriguez.
And see.
Actually in the battle for first, 0.4 away is a Cite now from Rodriguez for the battle for first as well. We'll go back to that battle and we see if Willie 31 does need a repair or not.
If he is driving with a damaged car, then that will be something Race Control will take a harsh look at. They won't take kindly to drivers driving around the circuit, a live racing circuit with damaged cars. It would not be good.
Just watching him there, it did seem that he's losing a little bit of time when it comes to braking. So he might actually have a little bit of damage to one of his steering rods, but I don't think it's enough to send him to go back in. But Kabiza Speed putting a new fastest lap in of a 122.627 now. So that's very good from him. He's sitting in 10th position. Be interesting to know if he actually went in for new tyres. And we've not had a chance to really talk about him because he started to lose places after places after places there. Offsprack now sitting in 3rd position as he overtakes Miguel Angel. A car spinning off. That was the Renault of Moses Carvalho. He was actually fastest in the 1st sector there. He's not, unfortunately, not going to get anything for it now after posting that fastest time. Cite now 0.26 off of the lead. We can maybe jump to the 1st place leader at this moment. Be interesting to find him. Yeah, and we're seeing the Cites all over the back of that Mercedes coming round Curva Grande. Going into Rogia. He's not got a run on him yet to have position after position. In Lesmo 1 now. You can tell that Rodriguez has been practicing this track for a few days now to maintain his prowess and skill. Didn't have the best of races last week.
So I can confirm that all of the drivers now, apart from Miguel Angel, Offsprack, Danny 01, Jeff and Moses Cavallo are now all on the soft, everyone else on the medium tyres. So those soft tyres starting to wear out now, as we would expect it, getting towards halfway through the race.
And I do believe that Jeff had a penalty. I don't know if he's just DNF'd himself or if he's in the pits. It'll be interesting to find out.
Jeff, I believe, has just DNF'd. Just now.
So, unfortunately, I've had 2 unfortunate DNFs. Jeff got a penalty. I'm not too sure what was. I think it could have been potentially for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, that's most likely.
But, it wouldn't be. Maybe he just had enough of the race and is decided to leave. Watch now as Aceite still pushing Rodriguez into. He's trying to make him make a mistake. He is making the odd one coming into Lesmo there. Lesmo 2, a little bit wide through there, but he managed to keep the car on the track. You can just see that Aceite is just very strong. That Red Bull, when it's following, it's got such good downforce, and it just knows it's a car that's designed to slipstream. It was designed to chase down the Mercedes, and it's definitely, hopefully, going to do that this year with the new RB21.
McLaren coming out of the pits.
Hitting the brakes there. Very good driving going on here as they were driving into Retifilo, but the lead is still a little bit too far away, so we could probably jump to another driver if there's any more battles going on.
The field is actually quite spread out now.
I think it's because they've all went for their pit stops. Yeah. So maybe if we jump to a broadcast camera and we'll just watch a couple of cars they drive past. And we're on Moses Carvalho. Kind of feels like everyone's just driving in qualifying now.
Well, not Monza qualifying. In Monza qualifying, you have one big group of people. Cars going
Yeah, that's
around
very
the
true.
track.
You have one big massive group that we're trying to wait, and then one person just slows right down. A little bit of a lull in the racing here, but actually between Ivan and Mugen, there's a little bit of a battle going on, if you want to jump there. As we see, actually, Miguel Angel's chasing down Kavisa's speed after a little bit of a battle at the start. Kavisa was actually up in third position at one point. Ivan is chasing down Mugen, sitting in third place at this moment in time. Hello to everyone that is viewing the stream at the moment in time. We'll catch you guys at the end for any questions. Mugen and Ivan really pushing each other on here. Mugen is 22 seconds off the pace, so they definitely need to make up a bit of time. But both Rodriguez and Asiti, I do not believe they have been in the pits yet, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when they go in the pits.
Yep. Zamunkasi, for some reason, seems to be on the hard tyres. Don't know what.
You can definitely make it to the
there.
end on mediums here. There's only 9 laps left. Maybe he just feels a bit more comfortable on the hard tyres. Whether it's just to have a bit of an edge towards the end of the race or not. I mean, it does look like they are pretty much out of contention now to even think about it. So
Don't know what the strategy is there. Be interesting to see how that develops.
definitely, be nice to know what actually happens there between them. If they've got a bit of a strategy going to know how to drive the car around on hards. But Miguel Angel, fastest lap there in a 1:22.492, so he's definitely punching up the speed. Site just 0.7 still off the lead. I didn't say that Gerazi 1:22.404 posted the fastest lap time of the race.
The lock up from the Alpha in front.
Miguel is chasing him down. It's going to be a little bit until he gets him though, unless he makes a mistake around Lesmo 2. He actually does. He was a little bit wide going round Lesmo 2, but still manages to keep it. But he's going to, whether he's going to defend on the inside. Oh, that would be definitely looked at by stewards. That, if we actually look before that, he actually swerved on the track, which in some cases, a move like that is illegal. The FIA state that you are allowed to make one movement across the track, but you are not allowed to move back. So if he had stayed in that position, he would have been okay, but he did move in front of Miguel, and that is going to be looked at. Whether he's not going to let him past, even after doing that. So very dirty move, and hits him as well. Very unsportsmanlike driving there from Gaviza's speed. But Miguel Angel now passed him. I'm sorry if anybody is watching this that is a fan of Kabiza, but that was just not very fair on Miguel. He had nowhere to go. Talking about the positions, how do you view that, Charles?
I didn't personally see it because I was too focused on the gaps. But from what you said, yeah, you're only allowed to make one move in the braking zone, and if he made more than that with a car close behind, that is dangerous and that will be a penalty.
And the thing was, it wasn't even in the braking zone, which is still at full speed. He was just about to hit the braking zone, but he moved across to the right-hand side of the track as Miguel was going to come round the outside, and fake moved, almost. I mean, you're allowed to make one movement in the braking zone. That's fair enough. But when it's, full speed, and you're allowed to make a defensive move across the track, but you're not allowed to cut across again. It's FIA rules. It's fair enough. But that could be viewed at the end of the race. Ivan actually sitting in third place at the moment in time, as the leaders have pitted. Osbrack sitting in fourth place. Cite still not closed that gap completely on Rodriguez, but they are chasing each other down. They're eating away at each other.
Mercedes has slightly less downforce, I think, on the setup because it just pulls away on the straights. The Red Bull with DRS down the main straight. No, the Mercedes just keeps pulling away. Red Bull just does not have the pace on the straights. But it definitely has more grip in the corners, so what can he do around Curva Grande?
Be interesting to see if he can hold the car in a contentious position now, as he's pushing, as Ivan has pitted. He has lost a little bit of time now. I hope that's not commentator's curse kicking in. Ivan now sitting reasonable pace after coming out of the pits. Obviously needs to get his tyres nice and warm. Mugen's only about 1.9 seconds behind at that point in time. So we'll see if he can manage to pull. It's about 1 second now. Willie 31 after having a nasty couple of incidents on the track. Michael Roslin going to pull around the outside. Is he going to make it happen on those soft tyres? He is definitely going to do it. He can brake a little bit later with those tyres. Right over the bumps there from Willie 31. It's not the ideal line through there, but he managed to keep the car on the track. Rodriguez making a 1:21.123 as the fastest lap so far. We have 5 laps left of racing here at the Temple of Speed.
He thought about it into the chicane there, but decided against it as the door just closed in on him. Might have a look into the down the back straight here, as he went very wide in the first Lesmo. Hasn't been Willie's strong point here, the Lesmos, this weekend. Oh, and he goes straight on!
I don't think he understood where the braking zone there was.
And he has in fact retired.
Yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me. The force he hit that barrier, he definitely would have ruined the car. So unfortunate from him. I do believe it was his debut today, so he definitely has a couple of things to learn about the car, and hopefully he'll be back racing next week.
Yep.
He definitely had some raw pace. He just needs to learn the tracks a bit better. So we're watching now on board. 5 laps remaining now for the leaders, Cite and Rodriguez. Moving now in the Williams, running in 7th place. He's gonna get a nice tasty points haul for Williams, as his teammate Jeff unfortunately had to retire. Ivan just in front of him, parking that car perfectly around the Parabolica. Oh, he's gonna have a run down. Ivan, a little bit of a swerve, but Mugen's just got the better acceleration with the soft tyres, the newer soft tyres. Oh, pushes it wide, going into Rettifilo. Curva Grande. He's actually breaking the toe on Ivan now, just trying to tell him, like this is my space now. You had your chance. Coming around Lesmo. Lesmo 1. And Lesmo 2. Very nicely done there from Ivan. He's chasing him down onto the back straight towards the Ascari chicane. He's not going to have enough of a run on him. This is where we saw Willie unfortunately retire. Aceite still not managing to get the run on Rodriguez on these last few laps of the race. It will be a little bit of a battle for third as Ostrak and Miguel Angel are only just over 5 seconds apart. See if there's a gap to be made up somewhere.
It goes straight on.
Ivan goes straight on. He's going to take to the bollards. Just hits it. Didn't really lose much time there, but you know, if you miss your braking zone, that's the whole point of the old track being there.
You're not really supposed to go through the bollards. You're supposed to drive around them.
Yes,
think anyone told Ivan that.
Driving a lot too fast. He still manages to keep the car on the track though, which is fair enough. Oh, as the car behind him, it's a little bit of a wide line in the Haas. Unfortunately, the Haas of Zuman Cassie is unfortunately not managed to make up that 1 lap deficit. Both Haas drivers just being slightly uncompetitive today with the track, and so it's a few of the other drivers. Consistency is a key that you have to master here in Monza. Danny sitting in 9th place at the moment in his McLaren. Looks like it will stay that way. He's got quite a gap behind him and quite a gap in front of him, so unless something happens to him, he's going to stay 9th. Be interesting to hear a few of the comments from Gaviza Speed on the move that he did to Miguel Angel. So if we could maybe have him in the Discord after the race, I would love to have just a quick conversation with maybe both drivers if they want.
I don't know what's happened there. Hello.
Hello.
Yep, that's just
we had a bit of a
bit of a server issue there, I think.
It's
or maybe
right.
It's just me.
It looked like it was just you, but the stream is stream has actually paused. No, it's not. It's back. We have the stream back. It's working. So, watching here, see Mugen and Ivan battling it. They're about 2 seconds apart now as Mugen's starting to pull away from Ivan. It does look like the positions that are set are going to be the same now for the rest of the race. So I've just been informed as well. We're gonna stay in and we're gonna do an after race show for any of the drivers or that wants to hop in and have a conversation with us for half an hour or so. We'll be in here to have a little talk show with everybody and debrief the race. And Ivan goes wide on Ascari. He's gonna hold it together just. He had to hit the brakes a tiny bit there, but unfortunately his run up isn't going to be too good there. It's Gerazi's now catching him, coming up the back straight into Parabolica. And we are on to the last lap now. The leader is on the last lap. It'll be interesting to see if we could jump on board with Rodriguez and Acite for the last lap now as we come across the line for the second last time. And we're on board with Acite now. Rodriguez has just led this race from start to finish. Been pinnacle stuff from him, and that is why he is the championship leader. 1.5 now for Acite to catch, unless somebody dies on Parabolica. It looks like the winner of today's race is Rodriguez, who is going to take the checkered flag. Absolutely pinnacle stuff from him, and Acite is going to take second space on the grid. We'll watch now for Offsprat coming across the line. He'll be just coming around Parabolica about now. Excellent stuff there from Rodriguez. He's definitely cemented his space at the top of the championship now. He'll be a good 20-30 points ahead still. And Gerazi's going to be coming across the line for the last time there as well. And Danny won't be following too far behind. Had 3 retirements today, but that's a bit unfortunate. Any drivers that would like to have a chat with us and recount their race experience, feel free to jump in a Discord and we'll have a chat with you. And that's all the drivers now that we're going to finish pretty much near enough at the end. And Munkasi is still pushing to try and get into the pits. Carvalho as well. Roslin and Simunski are the only ones left on the track, but I do believe that is today's racing concluded here at LVF1. If you would like to see any more of this stuff next week, next Sunday, feel free to follow the channel on Twitch as we'll be live at 11 o'clock UK GMT time next Sunday for the next race.
And I think we're going to have a quick look at the race results.
Yes, that'll be excellent.
Yeah. So if you want to take us through this.
Okay, so rounding off today's race in the first 3 drivers, in first place we have Rodriguez. A fantastic race from him, led from the start. In second we have Acite in the Red Bull, who is pushing him the whole time. He started a little bit further down, but managed to make it up the few places he did. Offsprat finishing third after starting around about in the 7th spot. Very pinnacle stuff from him, and it'd be nice to see a Ferrari on the podium here at Monza. In 4th place we have Miguel Angel 121 in the Racing Point. In 5th we have Mugen in the Williams. In 6th we have Cabiza Speed in the Alfa Romeo. In 7th we have Ivan O in the Alfa Tauri. In 8th we have Gerazi in the other Ferrari. In 9th we have Danny 01 in the McLaren. In 10th we have Moises Carvalho in the Renault. We'll get the next set of results up hopefully. And here we are, and we have 11th place we have Michael Roylin in the Haas. In 12th we have Simunkasi in the other Haas. And unfortunately the 3 DNFs today were Willie 31, Jeff, and Baroni David. That has been your race roundup for the 8th round in the Italian Grand Prix at Monza for LVF1.
And we will now go to a quick ad break while we get ready for the post-race show. We'll be right back.
Crash by Ivan, so I lost everything.
Okay. Yeah, we did see that as well, and we actually did point out that a few of the drivers were being a little bit we had a few drivers that had a few incidents during that race, but we were going to actually interview them hopefully here and find out what actually fully happened. But yeah, from your point of view, mid of the race, had a little bit of a spin at Ascari. What happened there?
You mean in the accident?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was hit on my back by him, and I don't know. I want to see what really happens because he claimed
We
to me
did
too.
see.
So
Yes, we're actually playing your start here. We've taken away the halo so that we've got the full view of the track. From the start, we actually see your start was very strong. I mean, even just watching it from the get-go, you managed to get right through two of the drivers at the start there, and pulled in front of, was that Mugen, and alongside you was Offsprack, and you just pulled right round. Very good placement of the car into Retafilo, and then around Curva Grande you had a perfect run. So, I mean, you had a pretty good start there.
yeah, maybe because of the tires too. I have with soft, so it helps.
Definitely does. But yes, we've actually got Michael Roylan as well, who wants to jump in and have a talk with us as well. But yeah, we'll have a quick chat with Michael about his setup issues, and then we'll discuss incidents quickly before the end of today. So if we can move Michael into the stream.
And Danny, if you leave.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We'll see you later, Danny.
Yep.
Cheers.
And I think we have Michael with us now.
Yeah, he's muted himself. We'll wait until he's ready to talk. He's not got much to say, but we've got we need to discuss with him the what happened with his setup. As we see in the chat, that he had a couple of issues trying to set up a setup for the game. Oh, your server muted. We'll get.
There we go. Should be better now.
There we go. How you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, it could have gone better, definitely.
Yeah. We were a little bit confused as to why both Haas cars were miles behind. I mean, we knew they were off pace from the real season. I don't know if you were trying to emulate that, but we definitely saw a change in pace from the start. I mean, you guys were fighting up the mid, and then after pit stops, it just seemed to fall away from you guys. You got something to say about that?
Yeah, basically, quali started quite well. I finished in P4, which was surprising since this is my first race in the league, also my first time on the car altogether. So it was a good surprise. And then when it went into race, I made a crucial mistake of not preparing enough, let's put it that way. Because I suddenly realized, oh wait, we're running 2020 regulations and I can't refuel, right? And then I thought to myself, okay, which fuel mix should I take? And I just went with mix 1, and I was just sitting on every straight. And then that was just my mistake completely. And then I was overdriving the car completely to stay with the fight for P3 in DRS. And I made a mistake out of Lesma 1 and basically had some damage. And then I also made a mistake by trying to get out of the way at the wrong point and hit, I think, Yarosai in Lesmo 2 and basically took him out of fight, which I'm really sorry for. And after that, it was just, the damage limitation. And then I made another spin in Parabolica while trying to push the car to the limit to somehow have a chance of getting points.
Yeah, we watched that one, unfortunately. That spin at Parabolica, and we were like, that's a Haas car, he spun off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you definitely had a good race up to that point. I think hard lessons for a few drivers today. It wasn't only you that was struggling out there with a few guys. I think Willie 31 as well. I think it was his first time in the league too, and he was fighting up at the top there, and then just had a few incidents that brought him down.
I actually fought with him after my pit stop. At first I thought he was lapping me, so I left him through after a small mistake. And then I realized, oh wait, we're fighting for position. And then I was just fighting with him for 3 or 4 laps, always overtaking each other on the DRS zones because I could barely get past in turn 1. And then he would just breeze past me again. And then at some point in Tuascari, I think I braked a bit early and he went completely off, I think.
Yeah.
Because I was
I
just
mean,
trying to get a good exit again out of all of it to stay in
yeah,
front somehow.
he sent himself into the wall at Ascari while fighting you, and unfortunately had to retire from that as he completely messed himself over there. But yeah, for a first appearance in the league, you definitely had a good show in quali and during the start of the race. So I think you can be very proud of that one, and a bit of a lesson for the next time we're racing.
Yeah, just to make a proper race strategy and get a bit more out of the setup, and maybe I can fight for the top spots. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. I think you done a good job. So very well done to you, and yeah, I hope to see you racing next week.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So that was Michael Rowland there, who was the one of the Haas drivers today in Monza. I think we can maybe jump onto a couple of the incidents now before we have to go off air. We're trying to get a hold of Rodriguez to have a quick chat with him, but it seems that he's went off. So we'll actually jump on board now at the incident that involved Miguel Angel and Cabaza Speed going up into the Ascari. So I think it was about 29 minutes through. So we're just trying to find it on the replay now for you guys to see what actually happened. I think it was this lap, yeah. Coming up here, was it? Yep, that was it.
Yeah, so yeah, you
we'll
take it.
go back here. So let's just quickly review this. So we see that Miguel Angel's got a really good run up on him here, and just gets. I would call that, that slight movement a blocking movement. He knew he was there, which is, I don't know if he was trying to scare him, but if any more force was put behind that, Miguel Angel would have been out of the race. He would have been on the grass. So it would have been also quite interesting to find out from Cabaza Speed what he was thinking there, whether that was just a pure defensive stance on the track, or did he lose his wheel somehow going through there? But yeah, what do you think, Charles? Looking at that.
Yeah, I think Miguel was definitely in the right here, although he did try and look for that gap when it maybe wasn't there, given that the Alpha was always going to move to the right to take the racing line, because you can't go through. If you take the line on the left going into Ascari, you're going straight on into the gravel.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to take this corner is, as everyone does, there is no other line. So obviously the Alpha had to get across here onto the right-hand side of the track, but I would say that's too early. And he didn't leave enough space. There was still, if I rewind it, so the Racing Point goes right to the right-hand side of him here.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely there.
You definitely saw
He's
him.
not fully alongside, but he's now committed. There's nothing else he can do. The Alpha should see that. And
at that point, he was actually alongside.
Yeah, he does the Alpha does sort of make an effort to move left and give enough space, but it's not really, it's quite sudden and violent and not really taking enough care with the Racing Point.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
And then he just breaks super late and throws the Racing Point off.
Let's just keep watching from here, because we actually see there's a bit of a banging of wheels as Miguel Angel actually has a run on him into the first coming off the start finish straight here. He has a bit of a banging wheels around the first chicane. It'll be interesting to see what actually happens here. Yeah, so let's watch the cars come down.
Yeah.
And you
Let's
see that
rewind that.
he actually, at that point, I think pure aggression was kicking in. I'm gonna watch it on the playback here on the stream, and we'll see. Yep. So he had the outside line, and he was just trying. Whatever line you take, as long as you keep it safe and secure going around the corner, and you're not going to hit anything, it's not going to be deemed any sort of incident. He unfortunately turns him and actually bangs him in the wheel at that point. That's just the sad truth of it. He actually hits him, going round into that corner. It was just it was a bit of a shame. The first corner it's a difficult one to get right, and actually maybe interesting to see how, from this perspective, he actually turns his wheel.
See, from that
There was no
perspective,
lock up there. That was
I would say
that-
actually, so they're side by side in the
Mhm.
braking zone. There's enough space here.
Yep.
The racing point turns in too early.
Yeah, actually, at that angle, you can see that, and
Yeah, he didn't leave enough space. So that's actually
but
the
in
racing
that
point's
aspect,
fault.
yeah, yeah, you could view it like that. I think, in my side of things, looking at the position on the track, watching the way that Kabaza's speed could have actually dealt with that issue, though, because technically the racing point was about half a car length ahead coming into the end of the braking zone. So therefore, Kabaza's speed kind of hasn't got a leg to stand on, because in other rules, if the car is in front of you at the braking point as you're turning in, that car's got right of way.
Yeah,
And then technically, you see, so you would deem that as a racing incident, and not much else. So then that's the end of that incident, as Miguel Angel goes on to power on to the end of the race. I believe he finished third overall. So
now we're going
um,
to have a look at another incident
was this the
involving
one with Ivan? Yep.
Ivan and Danny. Don't know what
And
happened
going
here.
around Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2. So it's actually into a Scotty. So Ivan's run, actually, he bumped him there. You can see, bumped him going Lesmo 2. It'll be interesting to see what happens coming into the Ascari.
Yeah, just completely punts him. Loses braking point. No clue what's
It'd be
going on.
interesting to see if Ivan actually apologizes to Danny. That would be, yeah, that's it's a shame, because Danny was doing really well there, and that's Ivan as well. He's not even slowed down to concede a position after that incident to even wait or anything for Danny. He's just straight up went behind him and barreled into him.
Yeah.
Danny actually was on his braking point perfectly, just as you come onto the rumble strips there, and Ivan just doesn't even brake. I didn't see him brake at all. If we maybe go on board with him, we might be
Hang
able
on.
to see a change in speed.
No, because there's a racing point. That racing point there. I want to see the onboard of that. I'm just trying to find it. It's Miguel, I think. Yes, it is.
I'll have a look. Yeah, so coming back here, we're watching as Ivan.
Oh, that was scary. That's not what you want to see. A car going backwards through a Ascari onto the track.
Yeah, you don't want to see any of that.
Brings back Sebastian Vettel memories in 2019.
Oh, and Stroll.
Yep. Oh, and it's a racing point as well.
Yeah, it's Stroll's racing point. It's
Yeah.
Miguel Angel, so we could have had if that was a Ferrari. If that was Gerassi's Ferrari, that would have been easier. But yeah, I do believe that's all we have got time for today on the LVF1 channel. If you would like to see more of this analysis and race commentary in the future, feel free to follow the channel, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. See ya.